Zofiówka Sanatorium, Poland's most haunted asylum vertical bar. A true horror story in the heart of Poland. Hidden in the dense forests of Otwock lies the decaying skeleton of a once thriving psychiatric hospital. But what remains now is not just rubble, it's whispers of pain, terror, and lingering spirits. This is the terrifying true story of Zofiówka Sanatorium. Chapter 1. The origins of Zofiówka. Zofiówka Sanatorium was established in 1908 in the town of Otwock, not far from Warsaw. Initially, it was a state-of-the-art psychiatric facility built by the Jewish community, aiming to offer humane treatment to patients suffering from mental illness. Something revolutionary at the time. Built with bright rooms, large gardens, and modern equipment, Zofiówka was meant to be a sanctuary. It was named after Zofia and Delman, the wife of one of the project's donors. The goal was clear: to create a place of healing. For 3 decades, it did just that. Doctors from across Europe visited to witness its progressive approach to psychiatry. It housed over 300 patients at a time, and although mental illness was still poorly understood, Zofiówka was ahead of its time. But the peace wouldn't last. In 1939, as World War II broke out, Zofiówka would become a stage for horrors beyond comprehension. Chapter 2. Nazi occupation and unthinkable atrocities. 1939, 1945, when the Nazis invaded Poland, Otwock was among the first towns to fall under German control. With a significant Jewish population, it became part of the tragic fate that befell millions. Zofiówka, being a Jewish-run institution, was quickly seized by Nazi forces. The doctors and staff, many of whom were Jewish, were executed or deported to extermination camps. The patients, men, women, and even children, suffered a more gruesome fate. According to eyewitness accounts and testimonies gathered after the war, Nazi soldiers used the sanatorium for medical experiments. There were reports of electroshock therapy without anesthesia, starvation experiments, surgical procedures without any medical purpose. The screams that echoed through the hospital at night were said to be unbearable. The surrounding forest, once filled with the laughter of patients enjoying open-air therapy, became a mass graveyard. It is believed that over 1,000 patients were murdered here. By 1942, most of Zofiówka's inmates were dead. The building was abandoned, but the pain never left. Chapter 3. Post-war era and mysterious events. 1945, 1980s. After the war, Zofiówka briefly operated as a hospital again, this time under Soviet influence. But strange things began to happen. Nurses refused to work night shifts. They reported hearing footsteps, whispering voices, and screams from the walls. Some claimed to see shadow figures standing by empty beds. One nurse quit on her 3rd day. She swore she saw a woman in a hospital gown floating down the hallway, headless. Patients, especially children, suffered terrifying hallucinations. Some even clawed their own skin, screaming that the dead were crawling out of the floors. Electrical malfunctions plagued the building. Entire wings would go dark for no reason. Doors opened and closed on their own. The smell of burnt flesh was sometimes reported in operating rooms that hadn't been used in years. By the 1980s, the hospital was closed for good. It was declared unsafe structurally, but many believe it was due to the spiritual contamination that plagued the site. Chapter 5. The Curse of the Land. Local folklore suggests that the land where Zofiówka was built was cursed even before the hospital. A pagan cemetery was allegedly disturbed during construction. There are tales of a white witch buried in those woods, someone who cursed any place built atop her resting ground. Several people who trespassed Zofiówka later died in bizarre accidents. A student was found drowned in a shallow stream, face twisted in terror. A thrill-seeker reportedly threw himself from a balcony inside Zofiówka without warning. A photographer vanished after telling friends he wanted to document the dead. Even today, locals avoid the area after dark. Many believe the souls trapped inside are restless, caught between agony and revenge. Chapter 6. Final Visit. A true account. In 2021, a Polish journalist named Marta Glowacka conducted a deep investigation into Zofiówka for a documentary. She spent 2 nights inside with a small crew. The footage has never been released in full. In her interview, she revealed the building is alive, not with people, but with energy. On the second night, we heard a lullaby being sung in Hebrew. None of us spoke the language. We checked. There were no speakers, no radios, no one around. We left the next morning. One of my crew quit journalism altogether. Another refused to speak of what he saw. He keeps a light on in his room 24/7. To this day, Marta claims she dreams of a boy standing at the foot of her bed, whispering numbers in German. Zofiówka still stands in silence, slowly decaying, yet very much alive in spirit. Locals say if you listen closely at night, you can hear crying from the forest or the faint echoes of patients asking for help. In a land with a history soaked in blood and sorrow, Zofiówka remains one of Poland's darkest and most haunted corners. So if you ever visit Otwock, think twice before stepping into the ruins of Zofiówka, because once you enter, you might not come back out the same.